Morning, everyone. Before I call our case, let me just check in with my court reporter to make sure she is ready to go. Tracy, are you there and are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, thank you. Now calling proceeding number 25R-0408R. Today is Thursday, November 6th, 2025, and it is 11:30 a.m. My name is Melody Mirbaba, and I am the administrative law judge who is assigned to hear this case. This is a public comment hearing that was scheduled by decision number C25-0703, issued on September 30th, 2025. This public comment hearing is on proposed amendments to the Commission's rules regulating railroads, rail fixed guideways, transportation by rail, and rail crossings, which may be found at 4 Code of Colorado Regulations 723-4. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here today to provide comments. I just want to go over some preliminary matters before we get started to the comment portion of our hearing. Consistent with Commission practice, we are webcasting this hearing, and that includes the video and the audio. Webcast will continue during any breaks that we may decide to take, so please keep that in mind. We also have a court reporter who is taking down everything that is being said. To make sure that we get a clear record, I'd like everybody to keep your microphones muted until it is your turn to speak. I'd like everyone who wishes to provide public comment to please confirm that the names that you've entered on the Zoom screen are accurate, because that's what I will use to call on you should you decide to provide public comment. And when it is time to provide public comment, I'm going to ask you to use the Zoom's raise a hand feature to signal that you'd like to do that. Just click on the raise a hand function that is at the bottom of the screen on the Zoom application. If you're here by phone, you'll need to dial *9 to use the raise a hand feature. Anybody who is having trouble using the raise a hand feature can just turn on your video to signal that you wish to speak. I'll just remind everybody that there are many other ways to provide public comment. Written and verbal comments are given the same weight, but the Commission tends to prefer written comments because people tend to be clearer and more persuasive in writing than when presenting comments orally. You can submit written comments through the Commission's e-filing system through this proceeding, using this proceeding number. You can also do it through file a comment or complaint link on the Commission's website at puc.colorado.gov. You can submit comments via email or US mail. Our email address is on our website. Make sure you include the case number for this case. Also, you can leave a voicemail as a public comment at 303-869-3490, and comments will be placed into the record of this proceeding. Again, make sure you provide the proceeding number, which is 25R-048R, in any public comments, no matter format, other than today. Okay, so I think those are the preliminary matters that I have. So I think I am ready to accept public comments. So those who would like to provide comment, go ahead and use the raise a hand feature. So far, nobody has indicated they want to provide public comment, but I want to wait a little while because we might even have some folks joining a little bit late with us. So let's just give it a little bit of time, and then I will ask again for public comment. Well, we're waiting to see if anybody else is going to join us to provide public comment. I just want to inquire as to whether we have anybody here on behalf of Union Pacific Railroad. Miss
Yes.
Jordan. Okay.
Oh,
I don't know if this is a question. I have some more for your counsel who's representing or who made the filing in this case, the comments. Is your April Connolly present?
Judge Mirbaba, we don't have our counsel on today with us. We had submitted our comments via the record, so we didn't see it as necessary. I'm happy to take any questions that you may have. We do have also two representatives, our experts here from Union Pacific. So if you have questions, we will do our best to be able to ask those questions.
Okay, well, I'll just let you know. I mean, it's really more legal about legal arguments that were made in the public comments, and you
Mhm.
don't have to answer these. At the very least, I can tell you what they are, and you're going to be welcome to file something in response if you would like, and you also don't have to. It's just something that jumped out at me when I was reading these arguments that I thought, hey, if I have an opportunity to ask the question who to the person who wrote this, I could do so. So I was looking at the public comments that were filed on page 5, last paragraph. It says, courts across the country and the federal government agree that state and local block crossing laws like CRS 40-20-3032 are preempted by the ICCTA, the FRSA, or both. There is no citation for this. This is a pretty broad assertion and a bold one at that, because it is drawing a conclusion about the exact statute that is at issue, that's going to be at issue here. And it's saying that this kind of statute has been preempted, but there's no legal authority cited for that precise proposition. And so that's the question that I have. And Ms. Jordan, you didn't write this, so I don't expect you to necessarily have that answer. But that is
Judge
something. And
Barbara,
then,
I didn't write it, but I was definitely most certainly had hands within crafting up this document as representing Union Pacific from an in-house counsel perspective.
okay.
So we can work to, I'll circle back with our outside counsel to address your questions raised. So it may not be on point, but definitely from our perspective that when it, verges into, which we've stated, to managing and governing railroad operations, and to this, it would some of the what's stated in the rules itself would have that effect of limiting our ability to be able to occupy the crossings. And so I think it's more so of an implicit type of inference, but most certainly I can go back and work with Ms. Connolly with regards to that.
Well, on that note, you know what? If I have additional follow-up specifics as to how it impacts, because that would be the only possible follow-up I would have about what you just said, I will put it in a written decision, and give all the railroads an opportunity. But I'm not sure that I do, so we'll see. I appreciate that. And I will say it's one thing to say, which is a very common argument, I think, that I see from railroads in general, that everything the state tries to do is preempted. It's one thing to say that certain actions overall are preempted, but to say the statute itself and the statute just like this is preempted and it's been declared across the country preempted, that's pretty broad and pretty bold. And so I expect legal authority for that kind of assertion. The next question is the very second sentence that follows that first sentence. It is a quote. I don't know what that's quoted from. So anything that you do file, I'd like to see where that quote is coming from. I'd like the citation, the source cited for that. And it's the quote that says, in fact, every federal court of appeals and state court of last resort to address the issue, I don't know what issue, has concluded that blocked crossing laws are preempted by federal law. I'm assuming the issue is something to do with block crossing laws, but if I had a case citation, I could look at it and I could understand much better what's being said here. I want to understand the arguments.
Well, that's good.
So
So we can be able to make clarifications with regards to, particularly as it relates to block crossing, because there is very sound precedent with regarding laws that are preempted when it comes to block crossing. So we are happy to be able to make those clarifications.
Great. And I'm quite familiar with a lot of those cases I've looked at, and it's been a little bit, maybe a year or two since I've looked at some of those cases. But yeah, I'm familiar. I understand the subject and all of that. It's really in the context of our rulemaking. I kind of want to put it all in place and see where the sources are of this. So
Yep, absolutely.
okay,
We can rephrase.
okay, great. That was really the questions that I had, and I'll just let everybody know right now. My plan is to set one more hearing. Um, I may end up deciding I don't really need another hearing. I want to see what else gets filed. I'm going to give you the opportunity to clarify those items, and there may be one or two more written questions that I put in a decision. I may not also, I may decide that I've got all the information that I think I'm going to get.
Okay.
That will all be put into a written decision. I am looking at setting this for January 8th at the same time, 11:30, and it will be remote. If anybody has any real concerns with that date, please speak up.
That date works for Union Pacific.
Okay, great. So this hearing is going to be continued to January 8th at 11:30. I'm going to issue a written decision on both the new hearing date, any outstanding questions that I may have for the participants. It'll all be in one decision. That is not going to go out probably until the week after next. As I expect, I might have to be out of town for a part of the week next week, and I don't think it can get out quicker than that. So it is now 11:42. Does anybody want to provide any public comments? Again, you can just use the raise the hand feature. Ms. Jordan, did you have anything else you wanted to add? And thank you for stepping up. I know you didn't write that, but I appreciate your willingness to
Yeah.
try to answer my question.
No, no, and just to clarify, I think as I've stated before, is that Union Pacific, we take a strong hand in terms of helping to craft the comment. So no, I didn't write it word for word, but definitely my penmanship is in part of that too as well. So thank you.
I that doesn't surprise me in the least. Okay. All right, well, hold on. I want to wait until at least 11:45 to see if anybody else joins us who wants to provide comment. It's 11:43 right now, so let's just give it a couple more minutes.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, it is 11:45. I'll just ask again if anybody would like to provide public comment. You can use the raise a hand feature or turn on your video. Okay, I'll just note that nobody has indicated that they would like to provide public comment. And so with that, it is now 11:46. I think I've waited a sufficient amount of time to see if we have anybody join us late who want to provide public comment. So I'm going to go ahead and end the hearing today, and I'll just remind everybody it is being continued to January 8th at 11:30. Thank you all for appearing and for participating in this proceeding. I'll just say, I said this in other rulemakings, it is really and truly my sincere belief that getting frank and open, honest comments from the public helps make our rules better. And so I do thank you for your comments. Even if I may disagree with them, they're still helpful to me. So please do, if anybody has any additional comments, I'm going to leave it open at least through January 8th, through that date. Even if I get rid of that hearing date, you will still be able to provide comments by that date. So please do provide any comments that you wish to provide prior to that point. All right, thank you all. Our hearing will end now.
Thank you.